assessing the situational leadership theory and its impact on team development. What is leadership? Leadership is a process whereby one individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal, according to Northouse. Key definitions. Leaders are people who engage in leadership, and followers are people to whom leadership is directed. Forms of leadership. There are two common forms of leadership called assigned leadership and emergent leadership. Assigned leadership is the leadership that is based on occupying a position in an organization. Emergent leadership is demonstrated by those who others view as the most influential member of the group or organization. This form of leadership emerges over a period through communication. Power. According to Northouse, power is the capacity or potential to influence. Individuals who hold power have the ability to affect others' beliefs and attitudes. There are generally two kinds of power in organizations. The first is called position power, and this is the power that an individual holds related to a formal rank in an organization. And it can be divided into legitimate, reward, coercive, and information. The second kind of power in organizations is called personal power. And this is the power that an individual holds from being viewed as likable and knowledgeable by the followers. And personal power is divided into referent and expert. Management versus leadership. Management produces order and consistency. It involves planning and budgeting, including establishing agendas and allocating resources. It also involves organizing and staffing, which means that structure is provided and rules are established. Management also is controlling and problem solving. And this is done through the development of incentives and implementing corrective action. Leadership, on the other hand, produces change and movement. It establishes direction. An example of this is creating a vision or setting strategies. Leadership also is concerned with aligning people. This is done through communicating goals and building teams. Leadership also is concerned with motivating and inspiring, and this is done through energizing others and satisfying unmet needs. There are a number of different theories regarding leadership. Some of these theories include a personality-based leadership theory, the situational leadership theory, transactional leadership theory, and transformational leadership theory. This paper proposes that the situational leadership theory is made up of key principles that can best promote and foster team development within a unit, a division, and within the larger organization. Competent leaders can apply situational leadership strategies to more effectively manage their employees and to inspire team development in the process. This research project will analyze the effect of the situational leadership style on team development. The objectives, strengths, and weaknesses of the situational leadership approach will be evaluated as it impacts team development. A literature review and an analysis of the latest research studies will also be completed. The study will assess the effectiveness of the situational leadership theory on team development. The strategies proposed by the situational leadership theory will be studied to see if they yield the best results for team development. This study will allow for readers to see a correlation between the situational leadership strategy and resulting effects. Researchers can then use the data to apply the same principles with other corporations to foster business growth or to avoid business pitfalls. History and background of situational leadership approach. Ken Blanchard and Paul Hersey developed situational leadership theory in their 1969 book called Management of Organizational Behavior. The theory was first introduced as life cycle theory of leadership, and then during the mid-1970s it was renamed to situational leadership theory. Later on in the 1970s and during the 1980s, Blanchard and Hersey refined their own styles. Blanchard published The 1-Minute Manager in 1982, and Hersey continued to further update his theory in his 1985 work, The Situational Leader. The situational leadership theory is a theory developed by Paul Hersey, who is the professor and author of the book Situational Leader, and Ken Blanchard, a leadership guru and author of The 1-Minute Manager. And this was done while working on the first edition of Management of Organizational Behavior, which is now in its 10th edition. An overview of the situational leadership approach. The situational leadership model deals with leadership in different situations. A main principle with this paradigm is that in various scenarios, different kinds of leadership are needed. No one style of leadership can be the most appropriate universally across diverse settings. As a result, the model recommends that leaders be ready to adopt different modes of leadership in the various situations. This ability to choose the more relevant style is what makes leaders effective according to this approach. Situational leadership is an adaptive leadership style. It continually changes to the existing work environment and to the needs of the organization. This leadership model is not based on a specific skill of the leader. Rather, the leader modifies his style of management to suit the requirements of the organization. Since adaptability is a main theme with this approach to leadership, effective leaders are seen as those who are able to shift from one leadership style to another to better meet the changing needs of an organization and its employees. Effective leaders should also have wisdom to recognize when to adjust their management style. In situational leadership, to determine which style specifically would be needed in certain situations, leaders have to evaluate their followers. They do this to determine how skilled their followers are in reaching the established goals. At the same time, leaders have to bear in mind that both the followers' skill sets and their motivation can fluctuate. Because of this possibility of change within the subordinates, the situational approach recommends for leaders to adjust their level of directive or supportive behavior to best meet the evolving needs of the followers. The situational leadership model consists of directive behaviors and supportive behaviors. Directive behaviors assist group members in fulfilling their goals by offering unambiguous directives and by clearly defining roles. These behaviors explain what should be done and how it should be completed. On the other hand, supportive behaviors make team members feel comfortable about each other and the situation. It involves two-way communication, while directive behavior mostly encompasses one-way communication from the leader to the followers. In the supportive behavior approach, input is solicited, appreciation is offered, and there is active listening. The supportive and directive behaviors can be further classified into four categories. These four categories are S1, which is the directing category, S2, or the coaching category, S3, or the supporting category, and S4, which is the delegating category. First, the S1 style, or the directing style, is, as its name implies, high directive and low supportive. So with this style, what the leader is concerned with is mainly goal achievement. As a result, he or she does not rely on supportive behaviors. In addition, the leader communicates mainly to offer directions related to the goals to ensure that the work is then completed. The leader also oversees the workers thoroughly. The next style, S2, is a coaching approach, and it is high directive and high supportive in nature. While the leader still communicates in an effort to reach goals, he or she is now equally concerned with meeting the followers' needs. This style entails that the leader is actively involved with the followers. To do this, the leader seeks input and ideas and gives encouragement. While offering encouragement, at the same time, the leader still has to be the one to make the final decision. To compare directing versus coaching, let's analyze the key characteristics. In the directing style, the leader tells what to do, how to do it, where to do it, and when to do it. In the coaching style, the leader seeks ideas. He or she listens to suggestions. The leader gives advice. And as a result, the leader enhances skills of the followers. The S3 style is a supportive type of leadership behavior. It is high supportive and low directive in nature. With this approach, the leader utilizes supportive behaviors to help develop the followers' skill sets, with the goal of the organization still being the ultimate driving force. The leader supports his followers by praising, by listening, and by giving feedback. Unlike the directing style, with this S3 model, the leader gives control of the day-to-day decisions to the followers. Lastly, the S4 style is low supportive and low directive. As such, it falls under the delegating approach method, and here the leaders give both less goal input and less support. As a result of this, consequently, the leader relegates more control to the followers, and then the followers take charge of getting tasks done as they deem appropriate. A summary of the four styles that were just listed. The directing style has a low competence and a high commitment characteristic. The coaching style has some competence, but a low commitment characteristic. And the supporting style is characterized by moderate competence and a variable level of commitment. Lastly, the delegating style has both high competence and high commitment. Characteristics of the situational leadership style. First, adaptability. Situational leaders must be ready to switch as needed from one type of leadership style to another. Next, confidence. To be effective, the situational leader should be able to gain his followers' confidence and trust. Insight. A situational leader should have the capacity to comprehend the needs of the followers and then modify the management style to best meet those needs. Problem-solving skills. The situational leader must also be able to solve problems such as what to do so that job assignments can be completed. The main responsibilities of a situational leader. To be effective when working with followers, a situational leader should be mindful of the following main tasks. First, he or she should be familiar with the various leadership styles available in this situational leadership approach. Next, the situational leader should be prepared to adjust the leadership style to match the follower's needs. And also, the situational leader should be willing to continually learn, develop, and improve the leadership skills. There are some disadvantages to situational leadership that have been highlighted in the text and by other business leaders. First, the style of situational leadership fails to consider certain communication styles and preferences that are found in other cultures. For instance, in some cultures, the employees and subordinates work better with an authoritarian leader. Also, the style does not take into account the differences between male and female leaders. Third, there may be scenarios where this situational leadership theory may not be ideal, and it may not be relevant. For instance, any situation that may involve time constraints and deadlines where decisions need to be made rapidly. Also, with the situational leadership model, there can be a tremendous amount of pressure on the leader because he or she has to constantly analyze himself or herself as well as the followers before saying or doing anything. There are also numerous advantages to the situational leadership approach. The model is well known and widely recognized. The style is universal and has been studied and promoted for decades. It is simple. All the leader needs to do is evaluate the situation and then apply the correct leadership style. It's easy to use. When a leader picks the style that is working, he or she can continue to use that style. The model is flexible. Leaders can feel free to change their management style as they see fit. Also, situational leadership promotes self-awareness. The style allows leaders to be aware of their own strengths and weaknesses, as well as the strengths and weaknesses of their followers. The situational leadership approach helps to develop efficient teams. By being constantly engaged with followers, the situational leader can better train the teams that he supervises. Consequently, the teams have an opportunity to mature and be more productive. Also, the situational leadership model emphasizes the need for a regular communication system. This model demands that meaningful, involved communication take place regularly between leaders and followers. Application of situational leadership. Situational leadership is often used in consulting since it is easy to apply and it is straightforward. It can also be utilized in other work environments. Some examples. An executive may use this approach to work with the board of directors. A supervisor in an assembly plant may rely on situational leadership to direct the group of production workers. A middle manager may rely on this model of leadership to plan structural changes within the company. Leadership instrument. Different versions of instruments to measure situational leadership have been developed. They are generally created in a similar fashion with the use of a questionnaire. These questionnaires consist of 12 to 20 work-related situations. Then the questionnaire responses are analyzed to assess the flexibility and situational leadership qualities of the leader. Value of situational leadership in encouraging team development. When leaders match up their styles to the followers, they can promote team development. For example, the leader may discover that workers are unskilled and incompetent at completing certain job tasks. With a situational approach, the leader can find a style that will best work with this less talented group. This may mean, for example, that the leader demonstrates patience, provides needed training to the followers, and creates a system of monitoring. These methods may all serve to help a group of followers that are unskilled. By being aware of both the competence level and commitment level of one's team, the situational leader can be very effective. Situational leadership alters how you lead depending on competence, which is the skill and ability of your team, and depending on commitment, which is the willingness of your team to perform the task. In cases where workers may not be motivated, then again, the situational leader can adjust his style to best work with this group of unmotivated employees. This may mean, for example, that the leader isolates the issues that are causing this lack of motivation. Then the leader can find creative ways to offer the needed support. This support may come in the form of the leader providing positive reinforcement, asking followers for their input, or having an open forum so that ideas can be exchanged and discussed. This adaptable style of leadership is also helpful when leaders need to deal with a team that fluctuates in their skill level. For example, when new workers are hired who do not have subject matter knowledge, the entire team may experience a loss in productivity. Overall, a leader who can assess his workers accurately and then modify his style will be more effective in promoting team development. The team effectiveness model. According to McShane and von Glinau, effective team members have certain common characteristics. These include trust, cooperation, coordination, communication, and conflict resolution. To better illustrate this concept, a paradigm called the team effectiveness model is referenced by McShane and von Glinau. This model specifically highlights the following themes: team processes, team development, norms, cohesions, and trust. According to McShane and von Glinau, performance of teams in an organization can be further affected by cultural strength and adaptability. The situational leadership model, which already focuses extensively on adaptability, is a model that can be implemented by leaders as they promote team development. Situational leadership model and its applicability to operations management. The field of operations management, or business practices to create an efficient system within an organization, can be shaped either positively or negatively by leaders, according to Stevenson. Stevenson further explains the value of effective operations management in ensuring the continued success of an organization. He elaborates that a main function of operational management is identifying problems, acquiring resources, proposing a solution, and then implementing a plan. Effective managers can utilize the established operational management practices to better complete their duties. For instance, some best practices include being clear on expectations, outlining a practical plan of action, and establishing a routine, according to Stevenson. These principles can all help to ensure that organizational goals are attained. A specific advantage that is found in the situational leadership model is that it does encourage leaders to adopt a flexible mindset. With this approach, a leader is ready to change based on the follower's needs and demands, and operations management can be executed without issue. Leaders who wish to be successful in encouraging team development should be prepared to adjust their style according to the maturity of the team and the stage of team development. The situational leaders should also be mindful of the various related influential components, which can be both positive and negative, and they can have a drastic effect on the team. To further help the team develop, the situational leader should establish an open and honest atmosphere among the team members. This will then ensure that everyone is clearly aware of the expectations. In summary, the situational leadership model can be very effective in fostering team development. The approach guides the leader throughout the team development process while still emphasizing the needs of the followers. Literature review. There was extensive research available on the history, background, and impact of the situational leadership theory. There is also research available on the topic of the advantages that the situational leadership theory presents. There was some research available about the disadvantages with using the situational leadership approach, and also some research regarding the applying of the situational leadership model to promote team development. Minimal research, on the other hand, was available on the topic of examples of leaders who may have abandoned the situational approach for another model of leadership. Also, there was minimal research on the topic of the negative impact for businesses where leaders may have adopted the situational approach. There were some limitations to these studies. For instance, the field of leadership theory continues to evolve and develop. As a result, new theories and principles continue to emerge regularly, adding to the complexity of the field. The situational theory may be put to the test as more dynamic variables are introduced into the workforce environment in the modern business world. Second, a review of the available research indicates that the studies were more heavily related to the topic of leaders behaving differently to handle the different situations that they may face. However, ample research was not as readily available regarding the issue of team development and situational leadership. As a result, for this project, the course textbook, other management textbooks, academic journals, and related class reference materials were all utilized for the research. There are a number of references that were used for this project. These include books and journals. The Leadership Experience is a book written in 2015 that was used. The Journal of Nursing Management. Also, the book Leadership, A Communication Perspective. The journal International Practice Development Journal, and specifically the article Partnering for Performance in Situational Leadership. The book Organizational Culture. The Journal of Diversity Management and the article Situational Leadership and Diversity Management Coaching Skills. The Journal of Applied Psychology. The Journal of Management Development. And the book Operations Management, as well as the book The 27 Challenges Managers Face. And lastly, the International Business Research Journal and the article Importance of the Motivational Factors Affecting Employees' Satisfaction.